Welcome, everybody. If you're just joining us, this is the Intersect Project Podcast, a Chuck Rewatch podcast. Uh, if you've been listening along, you know my name's Paul, and we've made it to the 11th episode of Season 1, Chuck versus the Crown Vic. Good episode in my book. A lot of good things happened to improve the arc of this whole series, arc of the first season, really. Uh, arc of just a good episode for the season in general. A lot of good drama, some action, and some hilarity abound. Uh, this is the second episode this week. Like I said, the podcast has been performing well recently, and I decided to release a second episode this week. And I'm happy about it because I'm feeling good right now, guys. I got my official NerfHerder t-shirt on, sipping a Taco Bell Dr. Pepper vanilla freeze float thingy. It's not really a sponsored advertisement. It's just delicious. Not gonna lie. I like drinking them. They're very good. Hey, Taco Bell, you want to pay me money for that? Nah, just joking. Or am I? But that's besides the point, because we're here to discuss Chuck versus the Crown Vic. Uh, First off, I'm going to point you guys towards Chuckaholics.com once again. A lot of good content over there, especially my buddy Chris's articles about the arcs of Chuck. Especially this episode is a big part of it. So he wrote about this one. So go check it out, Chuckaholics.com. I'll do my shameful plugging at the very end of the podcast. So let's just dive right in. Let's dive into Chuck versus the Crown Vic. Now, if you're just joining us, I like to start out each episode discussion with my two favorite segments: hit of the episode, song of the episode. I'm gonna switch things up. Usually I do hit of the episode, then song of the episode. We're gonna do song of the episode first. Now, there's a lot of songs in this episode, a lot of good ones. And it was a tough choice, but I narrowed it down to two: the "I'll Stop the World and Melt with You" song, and "Christmas in Hollis" by Run DMC. It was a tough choice, but my inner hip hop fan came out, and I decided to pick Run DMC. Also, we had a running back at the university I'm attending, whose football team I'm a big fan of, whose sports teams I'm a big fan of. We had a running back whose name was Darren McFadden, and we called him Darren Run DMC McFadden. So a little extra there, a little extra push for him. But yeah, "Christmas in Hollis" by Run DMC, fantastic song, good hip hop group really in general. So there you go. There you have it, kids, boys and girls, women and men, aunts and uncles, grandma and grandpa, whatever Chucksters are listening out there. Your song of the episode for Chuck versus the Crown Vic is "Christmas in Hollis" by Run DMC. So let's move on to the next segment. Hit of the episode. Everybody's favorite segment. Or at least I think so, because no one has said they hated it yet. So that's how I'm taking it. So this is another episode with not really a lot of hits going down. Not really a lot of bad guy beating up until the very end, so there wasn't much to choose from. I either had Casey's knockouts or Sarah's knockouts, and it's tough. Like I said, there's not much choice, and so I had to go with a gut feeling. What did I pick? Last week's episode was also a gut feeling, so I felt I picked pretty good on that one. So my gut feeling this week, I had to go with Sarah Walker. Sarah Walker's roundhouse kick to the face of Lon Kirk's Australian henchman. Congratulations, Sarah. Congratulations, Yvonne Strahovski. You've won this week's hit of the episode as Sarah Walker. Now, you guys know I have a scoreboard. See who's winning. Keep you guys updated. Maybe who wins season by season. And then at the end of the series, who has the most hit of the episode wins. So far, this is what the scoreboard has. We have John Casey at 4, Sarah Walker at 3, Chuck at 1. And now, you're probably thinking to yourself, hey, Paul, that doesn't equal 11. And you're right. It's good math. But I didn't start this segment until the second episode. Or third episode, yeah. Third episode. And one of the wins was by Laszlo. And this is a spoiler kind of, but he's a single episode baddie. Doesn't really matter in my book. So even though he got the hit of the week, hit of the episode, I ain't putting him on the scoreboard anymore because you never have to worry about him coming back up. He'll never win anything. So there you have it, folks. Right now, John Casey has got a lead, but it's a thin lead over Sarah Walker. And we have 2 episodes left this season. Can Sarah Walker pull off the upset? Can she do it? Or will John Casey take this one? Because Chuck ain't catching up. There's not enough time in this season to catch up. Sorry, Chuck, you have been eliminated from postseason play. But Sarah could easily pull this out. In 2 episodes, she wins 2 in a row. Now, I'm not being biased. I'm going to try not to be biased. I pick what I pick because I pick it. If that makes any sense to you guys out there, which it might not. But there you have it, folks. Sarah Walker with the roundhouse kick for hit of the episode. And that does it for hit of the episode and song of the episode. So let's delve into the topics at hand. Got a lot here. We got Buy More Christmas. We got Morgan and Anna. We got Morgan meeting Anna's parents. Yo, we got Chara. And you know what Chara is. If you don't know what it is, it's Chuck and Sarah mixed together. It's a pet name for the 2 of them. So, that's what I'm going to call them sometimes. But we got some drama from a baby mama going on right there. We got we'll delve into that. We got some Casey topics today. I haven't done many single Casey topics, but we got some good ones today. And we'll have some good side topics. So let's do this. Let's start with Morgan and Anna, because they didn't necessarily do much, but what they did when they were on screen was big. Morgan. When this episode begins, we learn a lot about Morgan. Mostly that he has metaphors about women that make no sense whatsoever. You have Morgan saying never trust a woman whose name is a palindrome. Now, I've known some women whose names have palindromes in there, whose names are palindromes, and they're not that bad. I don't know what Morgan's terrible advice is. It's probably just because Morgan's crazy. So, don't listen to Morgan on that topic. Really don't listen to Morgan on most topics. And then he has something about women are like scarves you wrap around your neck, but they itch your neck. Something like that. Just not good metaphors, like, at all. So, obviously, this is Morgan's first relationship in a long time, because as soon as it begins, he starts freaking out that it's going to end. And he does that by assuming she's cheating on him. And he spies on her because this is a spy show at heart. It's no comedy or anything else. It's a spy show at heart. But so anyway, he finds out that it's really her parents that have been picking her up, not some boyfriend in a fancy BMW. So Morgan does the one thing that he shouldn't do, and he overreacts and demands to meet her parents. Because Morgan doesn't like to think before he says words. They just kind of come out. And so that's what they do. They meet. Morgan meets Anna's parents. And you can tell this probably is not going to go well, because he's Morgan. He's a little kooky, but we love him for that. And so at dinner, obviously he wants to be himself, right? Think again. He gets the greatest advice from Jeff and Lester, even though Chuck had just told him to be himself. Jeff and Lester do what Jeff and Lester do best: try and create some chaos. And they tell him he can't be himself because himself is a loser and probably not good enough for Anna's parents. So Jeff and Lester decide to give him that terrible advice, which he takes to heart as soon as things start to go bad with Anna's parents. And what do I mean by start to go bad with Anna's parents? By that I mean he is more of a... he tries to be himself, obviously. He attempts to be himself, but he doesn't really relate to Anna's parents at all. They're Taiwanese diplomats. It seems like the show painted them as Taiwanese diplomats. And so her parents are not really relating to Morgan, and they don't really seem like they're getting along with Morgan. But you know what? Anna doesn't really get along with her parents. She acts like a different person when she's around her parents. So really the lesson we're learning here is no one relates to Anna's parents except Taiwanese diplomats. Fact. That's a fact. So obviously the dinner doesn't go well. Morgan is freaking out because he thinks Anna is upset with him, and he doesn't think that she wants to be with him anymore because the dinner went so bad, obviously. And like I said, she explains, she's like, I don't even like the way I am around my parents. They're stuffy, and I'm not stuffy, and neither are you. So it's not really a big deal that we don't relate to them. But we are going back to dinner with them. This time it's on a fancy Taiwanese diplomatic yacht with big old prawns. And if you don't know what prawn is, it's a giant shrimp. Watch Drake and Josh. Come on, people. Come on. But anyway, so they get out to sea. Morgan can't handle his prawns. Eats too many. And to be honest, you'd probably have to eat a lot of prawns to get sick. So it's an effort. That is an effort, Morgan. A plus. A plus effort, Morgan. So, all's happy. All's well on Morgan and Anna land. So, now that we've covered all the things Morgan and Anna, why don't we cover the Buy More? Now, a lot of things going on at the Buy More. It's Christmas time. They've escaped Black Friday and the pineapple incident. It's Christmas time around the Buy More. I mean, holiday time around the Buy More. I didn't mean to offend Lester because of his Jewish traditions. Jewish traditions that are so deeply impacted on him that he actually does not know the sigils on a dreidel. And what does he do? Knowing that no one else knows the sigils. Sorry, guys. Sorry, I couldn't get sigils out. Knowing that no one else knows what the sigils mean on a dreidel, he decides to make money off of it by gambling. I guess like a craps shoot type thing, like a craps shoot gambling type game, but with a dreidel spinning and landing on a specific sigil. And by sigil I mean like it represents a word in the Jewish culture. I don't really know much about it, so if someone out there is listening to this and they're Jewish and I'm making a complete ass of myself with this explanation, I'm sorry. This is my guess on what it is. I'm not really 100% sure. So Lester makes a lot of money doing that, and it's smart. I'm not gonna lie, it's smart. He is exploiting a religion and people, but smart to make money at least. And there's one thing that comes around the holidays that the Buy More is really frightened by, and that's the non-sobriety of Jeff. And we learned this episode that Jeff likes to do a lot of things around Christmas time. Specifically get super drunk and grope women and sexually harass them at the Christmas party. Or the holiday party. Again, sorry, Lester. Sorry. So, what does Big Mike do? Right before the Christmas party, rounds everybody up. Tells them what they have to bring. It's a company party, so everybody's got to bring something. It's like a potluck. And Big Mike does a pretty good job. He tells everybody what they got to bring, and he says, "Hey Jeff, don't screw up. Don't get super drunk. Means don't grope women. Don't sexually harass them, because you shouldn't ever do that." So, I mean, that's it's the big old take from Big Mike on the Christmas holiday party thingy. And what does Jeff do? He gets drunk anyway, because that's the Jeff we all know and love. The Jeff that disobeys orders. And that makes the Christmas party just a little bit funnier. And there's a lot that happens at the Christmas party. A lot that happens at this Christmas party. It begins terrible, terrible dance moves. And to be honest, while they were filming that, they probably actually didn't have any music on, so they're just dancing to nothing. So yeah, I can see why dance moves would be terrible. You need actual music to have rhythm. I mean, come on. Well, those terrible dance moves bring about a reunion of Morgan and Anna. They're making up, and then Chuck and Sarah's make up, which I'll discuss why they were arguing in the first place a little bit later in the podcast, but it brings about their reconciliation, and Jeff trying to make them kiss under a mistletoe, which this may be wrong. This may be wrong thinking on my part, but it looked like Sarah was willing to kiss Chuck under that mistletoe. And what does Chuck do? What does Chuck do? He says, "Hey, let's be friends," and puts out his hand for a handshake. Come on, Chuck, you had an opportunity there. You had an opportunity, and you blew it. In my eyes, he blew it. He had what was a perfect opportunity right there, and he just blew it. Didn't think anything about it. And then later on in the Christmas party, we see, Casey blubbering about angrily, because Chuck had just blown up his precious Crown Vic, and he gets a phone call from who? General Diane Beckman, Mrs. Cheer of the Holidays herself. And what does she do? She decides to ruin the mood of the episode right at the end by demanding that once the new Intersect is up and running, that Casey has to take care of Chuck. And by take care, you know what I mean. I put quotations around take care when I said it, because we know that means she wants him to kill him. And that's bad. She shouldn't ask Casey to kill Chuck. Why? Why would you do that? It's mean. It's very, very mean. So, I mean, we got some even more precious drama coming up in the future, so we'll see how that goes down with Team Bartowski. We'll have to see how it goes down. So, we've covered by more guys. We've covered Morgan and Anna. So let's delve into Casey, the complex, cold-blooded killer himself. And we learn a lot about Casey this episode, mainly that his most prized possession is a Crown Victoria. Not a lot of people have dream cars of Crown Victoria. Usually when you talk to guys, they're like, yeah, old muscle cars, Corvettes, Lambos, McLarens, frickin' Bugattis. The fast, fancy cars. Fast, fancy muscle cars. And Casey's most precious car, his dream car, is his Crown Vic. Now, to be honest, his Crown Vic has some pretty cool stuff in it. GPS, I think he said rockets. Hello. That's insane. So, what happens to that one thing that Casey holds precious in his life? Of course it has to be destroyed. We have to poop on Casey whenever he's down. We have to always keep him down. Because he's not important, evidently. Anything he holds dear and precious in his life, yeah, we gotta blow it up. So, that's what happens. Kaboom. No more No more Crown Vic. Sad, sad day for Chuck. Not Chuck. Sad, sad day for Casey. Sad, sad day for Chuck because now he knows Casey wants to kill him probably. So there's that. And then here's a little double standard for you. Casey's teasing of Chuck. Now we've seen this in a couple episodes. How Casey likes to tease Chuck about his crush on Sarah. But then when he's talking to Sarah about Chuck, he always somber tone, dead serious. You didn't compromise yourself with the Intersect, with the asset, did you? You didn't. That would be bad. That'd be terrible. You can't compromise yourself. Can't compromise. Can't compromise. And and then he ribs Chuck for blowing chances with Sarah. I mean, come on, Casey. I know you're just giving Chuck a hard time because he likes his handler, but you're not. You're just like, I guess it's a good, not really the best way to do it. I mean, what he's saying to Sarah is important because if compromising yourself with the Intersect is a bad decision, sort of. We want it as fans, but realistically, it is kind of a bad decision because for a lot of reasons. He could be whisked away at any moment. He could be unstable. It's just, you never know. They don't really. I mean, they've been with Chuck for a while at this point, but they still don't really know him. So I mean, there's just there's a lot of reasons why she shouldn't compromise herself with the asset. But there's reasons she should, like because that's what we want as a fan. So, hey Casey, go a little easy on her. Go a little easy on him, okay? Now, if you don't know the big surprise last episode, what kind of rock have you been living under? Bryce is back, and Sarah had a choice, big choice. Choose Chuck, choose to stay with Chuck, or run off with Bryce. And we see what she chose here. I don't know if she's happy with her choice, at least at first. She doesn't. For, I'd say, a good 3/4 of the episode, she doesn't seem really happy with her choice. But nonetheless, she made the choice. And we can see how angry she is a little bit about the choice she made in the morning when she wakes up. She takes that eye cover off, which, by the way, this is a small tangent, but do people still wear those eye covers when they sleep? Like, what's the point of those? I don't understand them at all. Like, why would you wear that when you sleep? Just close your eyes. I mean, I don't know. I guess I just don't understand it. Who knows? So then she wakes up. She throws a knife at her alarm clock, and you get to see a little bit of her knife skills when she punctures said alarm clock. And it's a pretty good aim. It's pretty good aim. I was impressed. So you get to see a little bit of that anger that she's showing because she's not sure if she made the right choice. But nevertheless, she chose Chuck, and she shows up to the meeting with Beckman about Lon Kirk. And needless to say, when Chuck confronts her afterwards about how he's happy that she's still there, things are really, really awkward. Chuck's not sure if she chose to stay because she wanted to, or whether she chose to stay because she had to. So, like I said, a lot of awkwardness in that conversation in the courtyard. And there's a lot of reasons why. And the big one I feel is that I think Sarah's regretting her decision, at least a little bit. I mean, she is super pissed about this, but she made the choice. I feel like she made the choice to stay, but she's really pissed about making that choice. I don't know. It seems a little complicated. Like right now, their fake relationship. If it was on Facebook, it'd say it's complicated because it's complex and confusing right now. Very complex and very confusing. But Sarah is not letting. She is not hiding any of her cards right now. She is not happy. She seems to be a little bit regretful of what the decision she made, and obviously that leads her to want to cuddle up closer to Lon Kirk, which, by the way, is a terrible name for a bad guy. I'm just gonna throw that out there. He is automatically 100% terrible because his name is Lon Kirk. He's an international playboy worth millions, it seems like. Still a terrible name, and that's why he's a terrible bad guy. And I ain't apologizing for that. Not at all. But anyway, like I said, she's getting a little closer to Lon because of that. And obviously, Chuck gets a little jealous. And Chuck gets jealous pretty easily, it seems like. But yeah, he's obviously really jealous. So he confronts her and puts her on the spot. It's like, hey, we kissed, and so I mean, I want some answers. That's basically what Chuck's saying. It's like, hey, you kissed me. You shouldn't get mad at me for what you did. Now you had a choice between me and Bryce, and it seems like you chose me. Now, what does that kiss say about us now? I mean, we got to talk about it at some point. And he's like, hey, no time better than the present. So, obviously, she gets a little upset for him putting her on the spot. And what does she do? She says, hey, it was a mistake. Shouldn't have happened. She's like, hey, yeah, I kissed you, but it's a mistake. Shouldn't have done it. And storms off. I mean, she seems visibly upset. She's 100% not 100%, but she's definitely regretting that decision now to this day. And I think she's just upset at herself because she wants what she doesn't think she can have. And we get a little glimpse of what that is when she talks to Casey. Casey is once again is like, hey, did you compromise yourself with the Intersect? And she's like, hey, do you ever just want a normal life? Do you ever just want a normal life? And we get to see a little bit of her motivations behind it. It's like she likes Chuck and she sees a future with them. And that's what she wants, but she doesn't think she can have it because she's a spy. And I mean, it's not far from the truth, but you never know. So we get to see a little bit of motivation behind some of her decisions, at least. Well, time comes. Chuck's like, hey, I know exactly where the plates are. And Team Bartowski's been benched because Chuck got the plates wrong the first time. Which, by the way, that was fast. They didn't obviously switch the plates on the boat, but it's weird that the Intersect knew that the plates were going to be. I still don't know how the Intersect works. I've watched this show. This is my third time. But anyway, so they get the plates wrong. They're kicked off. They kicked off the mission. And Chuck's like, okay, I know where they're going. I know what Lon's going to do. And so he goes to Sarah. He's like, hey, I know we have our differences right now. I know you're really mad at me right now, pissed. But you gotta trust me on this. He's going to get away with this money. Without blinking an eye, Sarah zips into action. There's that trust. Like I said at the beginning of the first few episodes, there's huge amounts of distrust between Team Bartowski. And now we've got like almost utter trust, like immediate trust. Bam. She does it. She doesn't think he's lying. Bam. We split in action. It's not just her. Casey jumps right into action too. He believes him too. So I mean, that the distrust that was there in the first few episodes is clearly it's not necessarily gone. Basically because of Casey being ordered to kill Chuck later on in the episode, but it's almost virtually non-existent at this point. They're very trusting of each other right now. So they get it done. Bam, bam, bam. They get it done. They have to blow up Casey's Crown Vic in the process, but hey, they get it done. They save the plates, they save the money, arrest Lon, beat up some bad guys, some Australian bad guys, And they saved the day. And at the end of the day, Chuck and Sarah, they're back. Chuck back to having a crush on her, but being friends with her, and Sarah just being friends with Chuck. You know, the way they want it to be, obviously. Well, guys, I mean, that did it. We covered all the topics. 30 minutes. It's good timing, if I say so myself. So, thanks for listening. Thanks for taking time out of your day to listen to me talk about an episode of Chuck. Next week's episode will, like I said, this is the second episode this week, and next week's episode probably not be out until, I want to say, a week from this Sunday or Monday, because next week I am packed from Monday to Friday, and I just don't think I'll have the time to record another episode in that time, so it's going to be, like I said, I think about a week from Sunday before I can release another episode. But, like I said, I'm giving you guys 2 episodes to tie you over. Till then. And I'll be on Twitter during the week, tweeting about Chuck and whatnot, because that's what I do best. This week, I want you to say this. I want you to, every week, new Chucksters that are listening to the podcast, every week, in recent weeks at least, I've put out a question for you guys to give me your opinion on. This week, I want your guys' opinion on Chuck and Sarah's relationship right now. Where do you think it stands? I know they said that whole friend stuff, but where do you think it stands? And you can give me your opinion on the Intersect Project page on chuckaholics.com, or you can put it on, you can send it to me on Twitter at ChuckRewatch33, capital C and Chuck. Please share this podcast with everybody you know. Review it on iTunes. Get that subscriber count up. Just trying to spread the Chuck love around the universe. Get more people interested. Because the more people that get interested, the more people become fans. And the more fans they have, hey, the more likely we are to convince people higher ups, hey, a lot of people in this, maybe they will see a movie. That's not the ultimate goal, but it'd be nice. I would like a movie, obviously. So, share it, review it, keep that subscriber count climbing, folks. Like I said, I want to take this podcast places, like Nerd HQ 2015. Let's get a full-on Intersect Project podcast, conversation for a cause. Let's do it. Do it to it. So, like I said, just share it, review it, follow us on Twitter. Yeah, that's about it, guys. And so that does it for this episode, yeah. So we'll see you guys next week. And remember, everybody loves Chuck. Some just don't know it yet.